For weeks, we have been watching Ross Cullum operate as the ultimate puppet master, terrorizing our favorite characters, manipulating the WSB, and pushing his dangerous cold fusion agenda. But word on the street is that Andrew Hawks, the incredible actor who brings Cullum to life, might be wrapping up his run on General Hospital. Now, normally, when a villain of this magnitude exits the canvas, we expect a massive, explosive death scene. We have all been anticipating a fatal showdown at Windermere where Cullum finally pays for his extensive list of crimes. However, something isn't adding up anymore. The straightforward narrative of a shootout ending his life seems entirely too simple for a storyline this complex and layered. Let us look closely at the central clue that is sparking this entire investigation. The impending confrontation on Spoon Island is set to be an absolute bloodbath. We know that Josslyn Jax and Cassius Phazon are right in the crosshairs, desperately trying to stop Cullum from escaping with the cold fusion research. According to the latest whispers, the situation is going to spiral completely out of control. Cullum, acting out of pure desperation as his grand master plan crumbles, will reportedly open fire. He is expected to shoot Josslyn first, and then turn his weapon on Cassius, leaving the imposter critically wounded. It is a moment designed to make us think all hope is lost. But Josslyn is Carly Spencer's daughter, and she does not go down without a fight. Even while injured, she is going to get her hands on a gun and fire back, dropping Cullum right there on the damp stone floors of Windermere. If you ask me, that is where things become extremely interesting. Most people would assume that Josslyn's bullet is the one that sends Cullum to the grave, but what if it isn't? What if Josslyn's shot only incapacitates him? We have to remember that WSB head Z and his operatives are bound to swarm the island shortly after the gunfire ceases. They will secure the scene, check on Josslyn and Cassius, and naturally, they will check Cullum's pulse. If that detail is true, and Cullum is found clinging to life, it changes the entire trajectory of this storyline. He would undoubtedly be rushed to General Hospital, placed on life support, and kept under heavy WSB guard. A villain surviving a seemingly fatal gunshot only to end up vulnerable in a hospital bed is a classic soap opera setup. This could explain a lot about the upcoming aftermath and the secret deals being made in the shadows. If Cullum is lying in a hospital bed in critical condition, he remains a massive threat to everyone in Port Charles. He knows too many secrets. He knows about Valentine Cassidy's whereabouts. He knows the truth about the cold fusion prototype. And most importantly, he knows exactly who his enemies are. As long as he has breath in his lungs, no one is safe. The idea of him surviving to stand trial just does not fit the brutal reality of this storyline. He has crossed too many lines, betrayed too many powerful people, and spilled too much blood. Someone is going to make sure he never wakes up to testify. That brings us to the massive theory that serves as the beating heart of today's investigation. We are looking at a classic hospital assassination. The big reveal theory is that Ross Cullum will not die from the gunshot wound inflicted by Josslyn Jax on Spoon Island. Instead, he will survive the surgery, be placed in a secure room at General Hospital, and then, in the dead of night, a mysterious figure will slip past the guards and deliver a fatal dose of poison straight into his IV line. A silent, cold-blooded murder. This potential secret could turn everything upside down, shifting the narrative from a self-defense shooting on an isolated island to a premeditated, calculated murder in the middle of town. So, if this theory holds true, who is the Phantom Assassin? Let us connect the dots and look at the prime suspects, starting with the most dangerous wildcard on the board, Jen Sidwell. There may be more to this story regarding Sidwell's thirst for vengeance. We recently learned that Sonny Corinthos dropped a massive bombshell on Sidwell, revealing that Ross Cullum is the actual person who murdered Marco Rios. For Sidwell, Marco's death is the ultimate catalyst for his current reign of terror. He has been hunting ghosts, setting traps for Sonny, Laura Collins, and Lucas Jones, all in the name of avenging Marco. Discovering that his own secret ally, the double agent he trusted, was the one who pulled the trigger on Marco is a betrayal of epic proportions. Furthermore, Sidwell is a man who operates on pure, unadulterated revenge. His alliance with Cullum was already fracturing, especially after he likely discovers that Cullum secretly ordered Cassius Phazon to track him down and assassinate him at his new hideout. With all of that betrayal stacked up, it is practically impossible to imagine Sidwell simply walking away and letting the justice system handle Cullum. Slipping into General Hospital disguised as a doctor or an orderly, sneaking into Cullum's room, and injecting a lethal toxin into his veins would be the perfect poetic justice for Marco Rios. Sidwell would get the ultimate satisfaction of watching the life drain from the man who destroyed his world. But wait, because there is another incredibly compelling suspect who has both the motive and the exact skill set required for a poison assassination. We have to talk about Dr. Liesl Obrecht. Something feels off about how quietly she has been handling her captivity at Windermere. Cullum kidnapped her, locked her in a cell, and aggressively forced her to complete the dangerous cold fusion prototype, exploiting her genius for his own twisted global agenda. That alone is enough to earn Liesl's eternal wrath. But the stakes are infinitely higher now. Cullum did not just hold her hostage. During the Spoon Island shootout, he shoots Cassius Phazon. Cassius might be an imposter who stole Nathan West's identity, but to Liesl, he is still her flesh and blood, a son she just recently reconnected with. Seeing her son gunned down and bleeding out on the floor of Windermere would absolutely shatter Liesl's restraint. We all know that Liesl Obrecht is a former supervillain, a brilliant medical doctor, and an absolute master of chemical compounds and poisons. If anyone knows how to concoct an untraceable toxin that mimics a sudden heart attack, it is her. The idea of Liesl quietly walking into Cullum's hospital room, looking down at his unconscious body, and delivering a fatal injection to avenge her son is incredibly powerful. It fits her character perfectly. She would protect her family at all costs, and eliminating Cullum ensures he can never hurt Cassius or anyone else ever again. Of course, it may not be a coincidence that so many other powerful players in Port Charles also want Cullum dead. The bigger question is, could someone else beat Sidwell and Liesl to the punch? Look at Carly Spencer. She just went through absolute hell trying to rescue Josslyn from Windermere. If she finds out Cullum survived the shootout and is recovering at General Hospital, her maternal instincts will go into overdrive. Carly knows that as long as Cullum is alive, Josslyn will always be a target for his revenge. While Carly isn't typically an assassin, desperation can push a mother to do unthinkable things. Then there is Sonny Corinthos. Sonny has been setting traps and maneuvering his chess pieces for weeks to eliminate the threat of Jen Sidwell, but Cullum is arguably an even bigger danger to his territory and his family. Sonny knows how to make problems disappear permanently. Sending one of his top enforcers into the hospital to silence Cullum once and for all would neatly tie up a massive loose end. And let us not forget the WSB itself. Z might be praising Josslyn for stopping Cullum, but the WSB hates bad publicity. A rogue director going on trial would expose decades of agency corruption. Z might secretly order his own agents to poison Cullum in his hospital bed just to sweep the entire cold fusion scandal under the rug. If this theory proves correct and Cullum is assassinated in his hospital bed, we have to look closely at the aftermath. Who stands to lose everything? If Josslyn believes she fired the fatal shot on Spoon Island, she might carry the heavy burden of taking a human life, even in self-defense. But if the truth comes out that someone else finished the job at the hospital, it creates a massive murder mystery that the PCPD will be forced to investigate. Harrison Chase and Dante Falconeri will be pulling security footage, interrogating nurses, and trying to figure out how a high-value WSB prisoner was murdered under their noses. This situation also perfectly aligns with the secret deal Josslyn makes with Z. We know she negotiates to pin all of Cullum's crimes on the deceased Cassius Phazon to secure the freedom of Jason Morgan and Valentine Cassadine. If Cullum is murdered in his bed, Z has even more incentive to accept Josslyn's deal. A dead Cullum cannot defend himself, cannot expose Z's own questionable leadership, and cannot contradict the narrative that Cassius was the mastermind. The cover-up becomes seamless, the dead take the blame, the heroes go free, and the true assassin walks away without leaving a single fingerprint behind. We may be looking at the beginning of something huge, guys. The Spoon Island shootout is being heavily teased as the grand finale, but in the world of Port Charles, the loudest explosion is usually just a distraction for the quietest, deadliest move. The truth could be closer than anyone realizes, and the person holding the syringe in that dark hospital room might be someone we least expect. Whether it is Sidwell seeking blood for Marco, Liesel unleashing a mother's fury, or a dark horse candidate protecting their family, the walls are closing in on Ross Cullum. Someone may not be ready for what is coming next, especially if the PCPD starts digging into the hospital security logs. The fallout from a silent assassination will ripple through the Corinthos family, the WSB, and the halls of General Hospital for months to come. Keep your eyes peeled on how the Spoon Island aftermath is handled, because the moment Cullum is loaded into an ambulance instead of a body bag, you will know exactly what is about to happen. Stay tuned, because this investigation is far from over, and we will be right here breaking down every single clue as it drops.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.